In a small, dimly lit chapel, a young girl named Remedios kneels in quiet despair, clinging to the fragile hope of her father's return. Amidst whispers of grief and the cold reality of loss, she navigates a world that feels suddenly foreign and heavy. As her life unravels, the promise of reunions and cherished memories becomes her refuge, even as those around her grapple with the weight of sorrow. Waiting for Papa's return is a poignant tale of love, innocence, and the heartbreaking journey of a child caught in the wake of tragedy.
This morning, child. Heart attack.
The distant sound of the 3 o'clock bell rings through the chapel, its echoes reverberating against the stone walls, as if marking the finality of her words.
He will be back in 2 weeks.
In her mind, she envisions her father's warm, comforting presence.
What do you want me to bring?
Mama says she'll buy me shoes, candies, and chocolates.
Her face suddenly clouds with confusion and uncertainty. Those were what her father said, and he never lies. Remedios is confused. Reverend Mother Superior is the most important person in school, and she doesn't lie either. She must have made a mistake.
Papa and Mama will be back next week from their vacation.
The chapel smells of melted wax, and when Remedios opens her eyes, she studies the bleeding Jesus nailed to the cross.
I'm sorry for having been bad.
She prays over and over until Reverend Mother Superior stands up and says,
Your aunt is picking you up, child.
They find Tia Miding in the office. She is wearing a brown dress. Her face is pale, her eyes pink rimmed. In the car, she looks at Remedios in a way that makes Remedios think her aunt is trying to discover something in her, and Remedios does not know what. Tia Miding drives through the bustling streets, her face a mask of sorrow. Remedios stares out the window, her mind racing as she tries to grasp the situation.
Look! There's the woman in black, dancing in front of the church.
Crazy woman.
Papa says she's pathetic.
Pathetic, my foot. She's as lonely as they come.
Father said she's pathetic.
Remedios rolls down the window, the warm breeze brushing against her face as she watches hawkers selling boiled bananas and lottery tickets, feeling momentarily distracted. Her aunt's chauffeur, that is what Tia Miding calls her driver, brings them to Vering the dressmaker. Remedios is surprised that she will have a dress sewn, and she nods approvingly at the design. Puffed sleeves, boat neck, and short skirt. They enter Vering the dressmaker, where bolts of fabric hang in vibrant colors. Remedios gazes at a sketch on the table, her excitement bubbling over.
I want puff sleeves, a boat neck, and 2 square pockets.
The dress has to be black, Remedios.
But I don't like that. Papa says I look prettiest in yellow.
Tia Miding's expression hardens as she stands her ground.
The dress has to be black, and that's final, Remedios.
Remedios sighs, realizing she can't argue any further, the disappointment settling in her chest. Before leaving the dressmaker's shop, Tia Miding asks for pieces of black cloth the size of postage stamps, and she pins one on Remedios' blouse, right above her heart. A little bit of black cloth that flutters when the warm breeze blows. At school, she is the center of attraction, like the actress Gloria Romero or the one-eyed freak with the Chinese acrobatic troupe, stared at by everybody. When she picks up her school bag, the children glance curiously at her. The visitors streaming in Tia Medin's house look at her, and when she and her aunt go to the funeral parlor and the church to make arrangements, people study her. Remedios feels as if her nose were growing from her forehead. Pairs of glassy eyes follow her around, and she does not know what they want, how to escape them. At her aunt's house, She tries to amuse herself by inspecting the numerous porcelain figures in the living room. Pretty dainty women with ducks beside them, little angels kneeling down in prayer, each one more delicate than the last. Remedios approaches them with her fingers itching to touch.
They're so pretty.
Remedios, don't touch those! They're breakable!
Remedios recoils slightly and wanders over to the piano, her fingers dancing over the keys as she plays chopsticks.
Oh my god, Remedios, the noise!
Tia Miding picks up the phone, her tone shifting as she speaks.
Heart attack. Isn't it too bad? I warned my sister about marrying an older man.
Remedios absorbs this, thinking about her father's playful comments regarding Tia Miding's extravagant jewelry. After speaking, she wonders why she said those words at all. She understands what Reverend Mother Superior said, what all the commotion is about, yet deep in the very core of her, she knows her papa will return. Remedios leaves the main house, thinking to herself, silly, silly woman. She goes to the dirty kitchen and has a second lunch with the servants. Using her fingers, she makes a ball of rice and eats that with stewed fish. Later, she helps the cook peel cassava and grate coconuts.
Your father was a good man. He made my son the foreman at the road construction.
Yes, I can't wait until he comes home.
She realizes her words are a lie, but deep down, she clings to the hope that he will return, that this is all a misunderstanding.
He was indeed a good man.
The kitchen is sooty and smells of grease and bay leaves. The cook, standing next to the huge wood-burning stove, looks at her. Remedios continues grating. She watches the curly slivers of white coconut meat fall into the basin. The kitchen smoke seems to engulf her, and she feels warm. The pungent smell makes her temples throb. She begins to feel weak, just as she felt when her cousin told her she was adopted. He had lost in a game of checkers, and angrily, he told Remedios that her parents picked her up from a pile of trash, that she had been covered with fat flies. She did not cry. She crawled into bed to sleep off her tiredness. Her mother called the boy an idiotic pervert. Her father placed her on his knee. The darkness lifted, and the next time she saw her cousin, she stuck her tongue out at him. But now the tiredness stays, and she drags around until bedtime. It seems she has just stuck the mosquito net under the mattress when she falls asleep and has a dream. It is Sunday, and she, Mama and Papa are driving over bumpy, dusty roads to Talisay Beach. Remedios is happy because she enjoys clamming in the small inlet. But when they arrive, the sea is blood red and smells foul. Remedios cries and her papa asks why.
Something terrible has happened.
It's alright. I'm right beside you.
She hugs her papa.
Don't cry. You'll make me sad.
She wakes to Tia Miding's voice telling her the plane is arriving in less than an hour. Trying to get excited, she bathes with her aunt's Maha soap and dabs joy perfume behind her ears. Like a sleepwalker, she puts on her new black dress, white socks, and black patent shoes. Remedios ties yellow ribbons at her end of her braids, but Tia Miding removes those. Heavy-faced people wearing somber clothes crowd at the airport. They stare at Remedios and she tries hard to figure out what they want from her. Pair of eyes follow her, letting go only when the noisy plane arrives with a loud screech. The special cargo plane stops near the terminal, and some men open the side doors and struggle to bring a casket down.
I can hardly wait to see them.
Remedios, behave yourself.
The sound of a plane arriving interrupts the tension, and the mood shifts.
Oh, where they come?
As the plane lands, men begin to struggle to bring down a casket, the sight sending shivers down Remedios' spine. A hollow feeling roots inside Remedios, and sometimes she feels like a conch shell sitting on the writing desk. Other times, it seems she is hanging on a thin thread, like the gray spider that swings back and forth from the ceiling. She feels odd, as if waiting for something to happen so all the staring will end, so the strangeness that has invaded her life will disappear. At the cemetery, the men pick up the coffin, carry it to the family crypt, and open it. The priest sprinkles holy water inside. Her mama, who emits wailing sounds and whose shoulders are shaking, bends over to kiss the man inside. Remedios has not looked, but she knows that a man is in there. The rain begins to fall softly as they approach the cemetery, the atmosphere heavy with sorrow.
Why are they all sad?
Remedios walks closely behind the funeral car, watching as her mother weeps, her heart heavy with confusion.
Ma, where's my walking doll and tea set?
Tia Miding glances disapprovingly at her, a frown deepening on her face. Her mama turns to her, and Remedios walks toward the casket. Tiptoeing, she peers in. The man's face is a waxy mask. He doesn't wear glasses, and his tight little smile is a grimace. There is a smell like mothballs. Remedios feels faint. She wants to giggle, but stopping herself, she bends over and plants a kiss on the wax man's cool cheek.
He looks like he's sleeping.
She takes a step back, feeling faint as a wave of dizziness washes over her.
Why doesn't he wear glasses?
She bends down and plants a kiss on the cool, waxy cheek of her father, feeling an odd mixture of sadness and comfort.
You look so peaceful.
The man closed the coffin and slid it into the crypt with a grating sound. There is a dull thud when the marble slab covers the niche, and briefly, Remedios feels a lurching inside her stomach. She closes her eyes and hears that voice, loud and clear.
I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll bring you your doll and tea set.
When she opens her eyes and sees the mourners crying for just a brief moment, she understands that they want her to weep, that they have been waiting for her to cry.
But he said he'll be back in 2 weeks.
She scans the faces of the mourners around her, sensing their expectations and sadness.
I want my walking doll and tea set.
The memories flood back, and she smiles despite the heaviness in her heart.
Papa, I'll wait for you.
As she clings to the memories of tea parties under the lush star apple trees, the scene fades to black. As the mourners weep and the casket is sealed away, Remedios stands at the threshold of her childhood and the stark reality of her loss. With her father's voice echoing in her heart, she chooses to hold on to hope, declaring her intention to wait for him, undeterred by the griefs surrounding her. In the fading light, she embodies the resilience of a child's spirit, forever yearning for the love that once filled her world. The scene lingers, a bittersweet reminder of how love and memory intertwine, shaping the path of those left behind.